Despite this cold weather we got going on in Clemson, we got some hot takes and sports are heating up. It's the Extra Point, and it starts right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Extra Point. I'm your host, Griffin Barfield, and here I am back with four panelists, some old, some new. I got Angelo Fellaberty with me, Sam Walters making his Extra Point debut, Toby Coriston, and Brian Warner. Guys, welcome back, and Sam, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here, and we're excited to see what you bring to the table.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't we get right into it? And last weekend was the NFL divisional round, and we had some crazy games, some crazy turnouts. And why don't we start with the big one? The Buffalo Bills played the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo last weekend, and the whole story of the game was Buffalo Bills kicker Tyler Bass missing a kick to potentially tie the game. Kansas City ran out the clock, and Kansas City are going to their sixth straight AFC championship. So we are going to go into the hashtag game, so it's whatever your reaction is to that play. So who wants to start? What was your reaction to that play?
First, Toby?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll go hashtag jinx. A graphic popped up right as he was about to kick the field goal that he is 9 for 9 when his team is either tied or trailing by 3 or fewer points in the fourth quarter, and I think Jim Nantz reiterated it. Also, Sean McDermott, after the game last week when he went 1 for 3 on field goals, said if he has to make one for us with the game on the line, he will. Turns out he didn't. So he just got jinxed all around, which is unfortunate for him. The kick looked good for a while. I thought it was going just right down the middle, and then it just took a hard right turn. So, unfortunate. I don't think he deserves all the hate he's getting, but it happens in sports.
I went with hashtag not digging it, and I'm going to be dead honest. The two most dreaded words are not wide right, it's Stefon Diggs. I'm telling you right now. Stefon Diggs, for some reason, has been on a fallout with the Bills. We don't know why. I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm just saying right now in the Bills organization, there's some fallout and disagreement between him and
He wants to stay there.
Josh
The
Allen.
report came out.
Yes.
Came out today, though.
But that doesn't
I agree.
excuse his skill ability. I mean, you are the star player being paid all this money, and I love him. He's a Maryland kid. He goes to Maryland, one of my favorite players. But you got to step up in big games. Yeah. Like, I saw a meme, and it cracked me up. You know when after the first Chiefs loss in the playoffs, how he stood there? They said, and Stefon Diggs hasn't moved 1 inch since that game. He's just still standing there watching the confetti. And it's true. It's because it's not just him stepping up, but I feel like a major ploy of this is that he dropped a 65-yard dot from Josh Allen.
That was incredible.
Dude, that was.
And at first it looks like the defense hits it, but no, it hit his arms. Like that is something that anyone should drop.
It was perfect ball.
So, to me, I just think you can't blame Tyler Bass. Yes, he missed it, and a kicker's paid to do that. I 100% agree with that. But it's not his fault that they were in that position, because that would only tie the game and give the Chiefs 2 more minutes to go down and score, which we've seen multiple times in these type of games.
I just have a couple questions.
Yes.
What do you think his reaction would have been had Josh Allen overthrown him in that moment? Because Josh Allen, he kind of just said, "Oh shoot, next play."
He would have blamed him. He would have been like, "Come on," he would have been frustrated.
Yeah. But it's reasonable to be frustrated, but.
But Josh Allen just he took it. He just said, "All right, next play."
Yeah.
It's become a joke.
And that's why I love Josh Allen, because he's that type of player.
Who's the Bills' wide receiver 2?
Gabe Davis.
I think
he wasn't playing.
Who's their 3?
Shakir.
Yeah. So I saw a stat. He almost has double the targets that Diggs has, and Diggs
more
has
yards.
Double the targets
and
more
less
yards than him.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
He's got to do his job better. He's simply not doing it.
Yeah. So mine was hashtag SMH, shaking my head, because, you kind of summed it up for me. And Josh Allen, he even said in, his post-game interview that they shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. But, I was also kind of surprised, because, shout out Tyler Bass, he's from South Carolina, but he hit a 54-yard field goal as a rookie in the playoffs, and it was an NFL record. So, he's done it before. And I mean, you said like last game he didn't look good kicking wise, but like he's done this before, but I just don't think they should have been in that position in the first place. So I don't think you can really put all the blame on him. You got to put it on the defense. You got to put it on the offense. I mean, the only guy that played like amazing was Josh Allen, in my opinion. He didn't even have an interception. So
And wasn't it
that's
snowing?
rare.
Wasn't
rare.
it snowing too? And like people like it was.
It was.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I've seen so many.
snowballs.
Buffalo's
Yeah. There was some.
Yeah.
There was some people throwing snowballs at him. Still.
I mean, when it gets snow or rain on the field, it makes it even tougher for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I think when he has like death threats to the point where he actually deleted all of his social media because of how bad it was, like.
Yeah.
You know those people are just ones.
I
that
love
do it,
Bills
like-
Mafia, but that's unacceptable, I think.
And it's a kicker. Like, the mental part is the hardest part of the game for them. I mean, the mental part is the game for them. Like, they know they can hit it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the easy part because they're kickers. They're the best kickers in the world, but it's just the mental game.
And I swear Bills Mafia is either always good or always bad. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like,
You
they
either
take all
hate
the
them or
threats,
you love them.
But they do all these threats and like stuff like that, and it might not be like the main Bill Mafia. But then they go back and they give $100,000 to his choice.
Yeah,
of
I
charity.
saw that.
I'm like,
I saw that.
you want to hate him at one point and then like him at another.
Well, there's two sides of it.
Yeah.
Two sides to the Bills
There's the
Mafia.
evil
There's
fans.
100,000
Yes.
and there's the death threats.
Yeah.
And they
And
all
there's the
come
crazy
out
people
on
jumping
one
through
team.
tables.
And it's
No in between.
It's awesome. It's
It's just-
terrible at
yeah.
that same time. You know, you're gonna get that with any team. I think the Bills Mafia, which I love and hate, obviously, they just take it to another level.
More exaggerated.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'll say for mine is so Brian talked about the kicker. You talked about Stephon Diggs. Talked about the kicker. I think it's Sean McDermott. Now he's been there for years. They haven't done jack squat. And Mahomes owns it. The Chiefs own the Bills right now. So I think it was in the second half of the game. You're on the fourth. It's 4th and 3 on your own 30-something yard line, and they're down. They're losing the game. So they don't run a play like just a normal. Okay, we're gonna go for it. They run a fake punt with their backup safety. Actually, it wasn't DeMar Hamlin was starter.
He's probably the third string
Yeah,
by
he
now.
was. I know he
was
was. They
playing.
said he
He
was
was
playing.
playing.
He was playing, but
playing.
he wasn't like
He's
the
not-
starter.
he's not their
You run a
top
fake
tier.
punt
He's
on
not-
your own 30.
Is he
Yeah,
their,
no,
is he their
that
main
was
guy
bad.
though for punts? I'm sure.
I
not.
No.
No, he's not. But they run a fake punt on 4th and 3 on your own 30-yard line, losing to the Chiefs.
I like
in the AFC
actually
divisional.
laughed when that.
And it blew it up. It was absolutely humiliating. I think that his decision making in this game, you can throw the blame. You can throw the blame on everybody. You can throw blame on basically okay, we as a team failed, but ultimately it starts with the coach, and he's been in this situation years and years and years, and it hasn't worked for him. It hasn't worked.
Does he call the defense for them too? Because I don't.
Might have a say in it.
I think so.
I think
yeah,
he
I think
does,
so.
right?
He does.
Because that's also, I mean, I can see that now. Because I mean, the defense is, in my opinion, when it comes to the playoffs, their offense always performs at least, to a decent standard. But their defense has been the one in the playoffs that have sold games and not come up in the biggest time. So,
And ultimately,
I mean, I can see why you think
every
that.
year beforehand, it's been, and even especially this year, I'd say it's been their game has been in Josh Allen's hands this whole time. This year, more especially, James Cook's been really good running the ball. They has upgraded their offense,
But
not to be too
from
at the
Devin
same
Singletary.
time, though, you could say that about the Chiefs. It's always on Patrick Mahomes because this year he has a defense, but
True.
he hasn't always had the best talent besides Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill, obviously. And who don't the Chiefs own? I mean, they've been in the AFC Championship every year that Patrick Mahomes has been starting.
You got to
quarterback.
own the league.
Like they kind of own it. So it's tough. It's a balance both ways.
Right.
So I agree with what you.
But also,
But I don't mind the 4th down call because you know what we'd be talking about right now if it worked and they won the game.
But why-
How genius that call.
But
was.
it's a fake
How
punt.
genius
At
that-
least go for a
Yeah,
real
that's
play.
what I'm saying.
But that's
Exactly.
I would
how much-
understand
How much
that.
time was left in this? I had an intramural basketball game during the game. How much time was left during the fake punt? 10 minutes.
It was,
Yes.
So
Yeah, it was like
so,
10 minutes.
So
Down there
it's
at
like
the
a
beginning of,
reasonable
like, the
time to
fourth.
play the field.
It's on your
position
own
game.
30-yard line
Yeah,
against
but
the best
but
quarterback in the
you're
one of the
gonna-
best
you're gonna
quarterbacks in the
bomb it
league.
Down 20 yards down the field. I don't like just setting up and going for it on 4th down from your 30. I don't mind the fake punt because you wouldn't go for it on 4th down in that situation. You're thinking, all right, play the field position game. We're only down 3. kick it away to them. Our defense has
But it's not like their offense was stagnant. Like, they could get it done.
Your
Yeah,
best
they could,
option
but
play
it's
call
tough,
is probably a
'cause-
quarterback draw with Josh Allen, because that's like that's almost a guarantee.
I don't
with how
mind
he
the call.
plays.
I don't think I don't think
Or
the
just
call was the
run
problem.
two out routes on the receivers. I
we
do
really
it in
would be
Madden all the
talking
time.
about
It works. It works.
we would be talking
kinda
about how much of a
dragging it out.
genius he is right now if they had gotten it. Like we would have said.
I mean, yeah, but they didn't.
But
I don't know if it would be
I
shine
think-
on McDermott though.
I think, but here's the thing: is you get to the point where they're in the same spot as they were last year with a better offense, right? It's multi-dimensional now with new running game. Do you have a defense that, I mean, it's not bad. It's not. I wouldn't say it's super great, but they have players that are there even though despite injuries. And you get to the same spot and you lose again.
And also, the difference between the Chiefs and the Bills is that Andy Reid is like one of the best coaches
Right.
of all time, and that's how they're able to get it done, because it's not just Patrick Mahomes. Even
Right.
when it's just Patrick Mahomes, he has one of the best head coaches of all time on the sideline. So,
it's
Chiefs-
tough to put together a dynasty. Griffin,
but the Bills are just confusing.
Griffin, your
so.
thoughts?
I think it's just it was a bad weekend to be a kicker. Andrews Carlson with the
was.
Green Bay Packers. Chase McLaughlin of the Buccaneers, I think he didn't miss a field goal all year. He missed one right before halftime. So it was just a bad day to be a kicker. You got to finish it. I mean, but then again, it's a whole mental game.
Kickers.
It's completely understandable. But we did talk about Chase McLaughlin of the Buccaneers. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. It's the team that they beat. The Detroit Lions make the first NFC Championship since 1992. Which I think is insane. I know we were talking about Sean McDermott, Andy Reid, but you got to appreciate what Dan Campbell's been doing. So our next hashtag reaction, how about the Lions? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm going to go first because I'm excited about this one.
Go ahead.
Hashtag hear them roar. And the only reason why I said it is because it's not just the football team that's roaring, it's the fans in the city that's roaring. And for a city that has been in such a low point athletic-wise, you look at the Pistons, you look at the Red Wings. I don't think the Red Wings have been doing that great. I haven't really caught up with hockey that much. Like, every single sports team has been in the dump. The Tigers, and here come the Lions uplifting this city, and it felt so good to hear them, like, get to the NFC. And I have to say, there are two stadiums that I wouldn't want to be playing in the playoffs if you have home field advantage. That is the Ravens, because they're loud. But even louder is Detroit.
Are we just leaving out Arrowhead, like the toughest stadium? to
Arrowhead,
play in?
Seattle, Lambeau.
Yeah.
I meant this year.
I think you just listed off.
I'm saying,
We can't glaze.
Sorry, I
the
didn't
face of the
explain.
Chiefs all the time, guys. you know?
I didn't explain, my bad. I meant this year in the playoffs.
I'm still taking Arrowhead over any other
I
stadium.
agree.
It was
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Arrowhead's the loudest stadium in the
All I was
country.
trying to say was that even though I have
I
a
agree with
bias
your
for the
Lions
Ravens,
pick.
I was trying to prove that Detroit has won my heart, dude.
Fortunately-
I am rooting for Detroit. If we were to get beat by one team, and by we I mean the Ravens, I would want it to be Detroit because they are just on such a high note right now, and I would love it for the city. That's just me.
All right, I said Lions, Ravens, Super Bowl, because it's what the people need. Nobody wants to see Kansas City and the Niners going at it again like they did in 2019, 2020, whichever year that was.
It was 20, yeah.
But shout out Baker Mayfield, too, because he threw for 350 yards, had 3 touchdowns. One of the picks was kind of not his fault, so he balled out. He'll get a big payday. But, I think everybody wants the Lions-Ravens Super Bowl, like you said. Their defense does need to play better, though, if they want to make it there. They're, I think, statistically the worst in the playoffs and then, like, top 5 worst in the regular season. And then they also lost Anzalone, who was, like, their best linebacker. So I think it really comes down to their defense because, I mean, their offense will perform. I mean, I know they lost some guys, too. They lost Jonah Jackson, left tackle. They lost center Frank Ragnow. They lost Josh Reynolds, who's been doing great for them at wide receiver 2 or 3 or whatever it is. But I think defense will just need to step it up if they really want to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, so I'll go for mine, and kind of looking away also with the Lions, incredible achievement for them, and I'm excited to watch the game on this Sunday. But I'm looking more at the Bucs with this one. Hashtag the future looks bright. You know, Baker comes in there after hopping around multiple different teams in the past couple of years, gets into Tampa Bay and leads them to the divisional round. Like, that's huge. That's huge, especially with how big of just almost kind of a disappointment you look at Baker's career over this time, and he gets into there. He leads the team. You have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both being 1,000-yard receivers. You have Rashad White being a top 15 back, combining with his receiving yards, and you have a defense that steps up with middle linebackers, Levante David, Devin White. You have Vita Vea. You know, you have a team here that there's a lot of veterans on this team. It's filled with veterans, so there's maybe not a whole lot of time. But with what they had and what they've shown here against the Lions and against the Eagles that got smoked, it looks good for them. And so I'm really excited, and I think that they'll be able to continue to run if they can. Obviously Baker's going to get paid. He should get paid, but if you keep all those players there, maybe draft another offensive lineman, or cornerback for them, especially for their secondary. It looks good for them. So
I have a question real quick. Has Jared Goff beaten the game manager allegations?
No.
absolutely not.
And I don't think he needs.
All of us are the same way.
I don't think
even Griffin's going no.
You're kind of leaning into my point. Expected, unexpected was my hashtag. I think we all expected the Lions to win this weekend.
Yeah.
I think we expected them, with their spot in the playoffs, to be in the NFC Championship, especially with the Bucs beating the Eagles. I don't think there's any surprise that they're where they are now, but they are the Lions. So I think they had an unexpected year. They had a really, really good year. A lot of people saw it coming, but still, it's the Lions, Jared Goff, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I really like Jared Goff. I really like how he's doing this year. I do think he's a game manager, and I'm okay with that. I think he's a
high level game.
I think he's a very, very
Because
very
even
good game
I did not expect the Lions to make it this far in the playoffs.
No.
I mean, I had them losing to the Rams in the wild card. Like, I thought the Rams had more experience and more talent overall. But Jared Goff, I mean, he's slinging it. He's been to a Super Bowl. Now, the Rams were stacked on offense back then, but he has the
But he
experience.
knows how to do it. I think that'll come up later
Yeah.
in this episode.
I think game manager gets there more prominently because of how much they run the ball and how much their running game has been, especially with their additions to the offensive line.
I disagree with
You don't think so?
And
I don't think so.
Jameer Gibbs is more of a
Two top
receiving
15
back in my opinion.
Two top 15 rushers. I mean, two top 20 rushers. We're not even full scrimmage yards. Two top 20 rushers on their team.
But you have
David Montgomery, Jameer
But
Gibbs.
we can say that. I mean, Amon-Ra's
You see how many
Amon-Ra's a top 10 wide receiver,
Lions
and Sam
lost
Laporta's
games.
already a top 5 tight end.
You know why they
Right.
can run the ball? Because they have a good passing game.
Right.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean he's not an
the
elite
NFL is a
quarterback.
pass-first league, and if you can pass the ball, that means that teams are going. Your secondary is going to have to stay back. You can't put 6 or 7 in the box, which leaves that open for the running.
But you have so much
So
talent
I think
there.
it
How
goes.
could
I think
you
it
mess
goes
that up?
both.
And
I
he
think
has.
it goes both
But
ways.
you
He
can
has
mess
messed
it
that up.
up.
He has. He's had games
When?
where he's lost because he's thrown 3
Weren't they
interceptions.
first?
Yeah, but
In the
they're
first
like
half.
12-5 this year.
Right.
So, like,
12-5.
why are we talking about the losses when they're about to?
They are, but I'm talking about game manager wise. I think
I mean, everybody has bad games. I mean, especially
Right.
when you're at that level. I mean,
Right, but if you're
he's not an
surrounded by
amazing
talent.
he's opening your eyes and is like, oh my God, Jared Goff everybody has to see Jared Goff.
I think
he
this will
plays
be-
the QB position very well.
I think this will be interesting to hear about. When
I
we
think
start
Brock
talking about
Purdy
their
is
matchup.
a.
I will say that just because I know
Purdy is a broke.
we'll be talking about Jared Goff. We'll be talking about Brock Purdy. We'll be previewing these games later on in the show. But I'm going to do a quick pivot. Let's go to the NBA. And perhaps one of the best games of all time occurred on Monday. Joel Embiid, 76ers center, 70 points, 15 rebounds. I believe 5 assists as well over the San Antonio Spurs. There was a lot of controversy going before the game because Spurs coach Greg Popovich was talking about how he was going to hammer him in. And here Joel Embiid is dropping a career-high franchise record and being the 3rd player in the last 2 seasons to score 70 points or more. What is your reaction to that? Because obviously that doesn't happen every once a week, but what are your guys' thoughts on that?
All right, I said don't care, because I don't care. He can't get it done in the playoffs, so why does it matter that he's dropping 70 in the regular season? First of all, he had like 25 free throws as well. I don't want to come off sounding like a Joel Embiid hater, because he's a great player. I mean, he won MVP last year, even though I don't think he should have. But he's a great player. I saw him play against the Hornets when they beat them by 53. And he's like humongous in person, but I just don't like his game, like how he plays, like he's just searching for fouls in like half of the plays.
He plays like a point guard or shooting guard in a center's body.
Yeah, exactly.
He flops a lot
Like
more.
he is a very good player, but if he didn't look for foul calls as much as he does, I would be more enjoyed to watch his games, but I don't really watch them. And then also,
Or if he rode horses.
he did go against Wemby, so like that was kind of a welcome to the NBA moment for him. I mean, you're an experienced MVP center who is probably like 2 times Wemby's weight, even though Wemby is 7'4".
Yeah.
I just think he had to give him a little welcome to the NBA moment. And I think it was just a great night for scoring in general. I mean, Cat had 63, KD had 43, JT had 39. So, I mean, it was a good day in general. But I just don't think he can get it done in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, I went with Mamba mentality. That this day definitely has some significance in the NBA. I don't want to get this wrong. This was the 18th anniversary of when Kobe dropped 81. So kind of cool to have a big scoring night on there. And he acknowledged it after the game. He looked up to Kobe. It was cool for him to do that. But I do think he also needs to have a little bit more of a Mamba mentality. Like you said, he flops a lot. If he could be a little bit more physical in and around the boards, I think he'd have a lot more success. Even though he did drop 70, I think people would be even just more scared to go up against him. Like, I don't think anyone's scared to go up against Embiid. He's obviously going to beat you a lot of times, but nobody's like, whoa, that's Embiid. I'm so terrified of going up against going down on the block against him. So I think it was just a really fun night for the NBA. There was there was a lot of historic scoring. So I think it was just a cool night, especially remembering Kobe.
Yep. And the Timberwolves lost to the Hornets, even though Cat dropped 63. So that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Here we go. I had 2, and I was thinking about a third one. I was going to be like, that's not Giannis, but I'm not going to do that one because that's just mean. But I was going to go #CatWho, because, of course, he had to one-up Cat on that night. And the other one I did was #MVP. Now, I don't watch basketball as much as I watch football, so I haven't really watched a lot of Sixers games. Plus, I'm not a huge fan of Embiid. It just, again, it's like it's not fun to watch someone flop around for 60 minutes or whatever it is. And so I was talking to some of my friends who really watch basketball, and they're like, he's possibly making his case for a second MVP. Now, do I agree that he should have won it last year? No. I think Jokic, deservedly so, had 3 MVPs, and they decided after voter fatigue, after voter fatigue, that they wanted to give it to someone new. So, as much as I disagree with his last MVP, is he making even a stronger case this year? I don't know. I'd have to check into more games. I'd have to look at a little bit more of his stats. But according to some of my friends, they're saying he might be making a pretty strong case.
If he gets hurt, if he gets hurt for I think he misses 10 more games, he misses the eligibility to actually be voted.
How many are left?
Could I be wrong
think
at drawing a comparison to Dak Prescott, where he has all the stats and whatnot, but he just
You're not wrong at all.
Run his
and
team.
you know how Philly fans are. They're like Cowboys fans. I mean, Dallas and Philly, they got that fan base.
I noticed some similarities
They're
between
like,
the two players.
this year's our year.
Especially
Trust the
with
process.
this
Trust the process, baby.
Speaking of that, trust the process. This is the year. This is it. Dak, call me delusional Pennsylvania sports fan, but this is the year. I mean, you have other people that are there that are performing. That's not just Joel Embiid. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was Tyrese, wasn't it Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah.
He was absolutely incredible to start off the season. He's been incredible now. You have other people there. I think that's why they don't get it done, is because they don't have the all-around support for the team. I think they'll be better this year. But, they say that every year, right? And look where that's led them. So, we'll see.
I mean, for sure. I mean, Embiid, regardless of what you think, if he's a flop merchant, if he deserves the MVP, I mean, it's just a historic night for basketball. But yeah, and I will say this, Brian, I think you should probably do a little bit more research, because we're going to move into NBA Pick'em. We got three games. What's up?
I said I got to prep now. I'm like,
exactly.
Oh, dang, I got to.
Exactly. We have 3 games over the course of the next week, and we're going to start with an Eastern Conference Final rematch. The Boston Celtics, the best record in the NBA and the best record in the East, obviously, traveling to Miami to take on the Heat, who just recently acquired Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets, who has had a great season. But it's in Miami. It's a rematch of the Eastern Conference Final, that huge 3-0 blown lead, and then Miami eventually took off to the NBA Finals. Who takes this one on Thursday night?
I have the Celtics. The Celtics have been on a really good roll so far. I think out of their last 8 games, they've only lost 1, and that was to the Nuggets. And I don't know if y'all saw that, but Jason Tatum missed the game winner. So it was 102 to 100, and then since then they haven't lost a game. Meanwhile, the Heat have lost their past 3 of their 4, and some teams were you shouldn't be losing to them, or at least keep it closer. Like, the Magic aren't horrible, but they're a very solid team, but I think they shouldn't be beating the Heat by like 25. And then also, I think they'll have to take a little time to get adjusted to Terry Rozier and how he plays. I mean, Terry Rozier, he averaged 24 on the Hornets, but he's also shooting 40% from the field and gets up all the shots that he wants because it's the Hornets. So I think he'll have to adjust in the system and the offensive scheme, just like Harden had to when he came to the Clippers and they lost like 8 straight, and then they went on like a 20-game winning streak. So I think Celtics will, soundly beat them, but you just give them a little time and they'll be good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to move away from the player aspect of it and just go to rest. The Celtics will have not played since Monday, so they'll be on completely fresh legs. The Heat play tonight, so that's tough to go back-to-back. They are at home, but I think they're going to need Terry Rozier to fit right in and Tyler Hero to have a big game to beat the Celtics. The Celtics just have a lot of good weapons and are just a good team. They're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs. They're always going to be tough to beat in the regular season, especially when everyone's healthy. And with fresh legs, I think they'll go down to Miami, be ready to play, and they're going to take the W.
So what I'm hearing is Terry's kind of like Jordan Poole if he's a little bit more mature. He just shoots whatever he wants because he's on a trash team.
I mean, I feel like he can adjust, like, pretty well because he's been on like championship contending teams. Like,
I think
he was on the
I'm not
Celtics.
saying
He was on the Celtics, and he showed out in the playoffs when people were injured. But
I was just saying he's in a similar.
He's in a similar situation. He's just
Jordan
out
Poole.
there hooping. Like,
and he's just actually getting it done.
He knows how to go play a role.
Exactly.
You don't watch a whole game.
All he did was play a role coming into the league. So I mean, he's got the best of both worlds working for him.
You don't watch a whole 10 games and all of a sudden you see your team lose to the Pistons.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, I'm a Wizards fan. Again, I'm trying to get back into the NBA swing, so I'm going to go with probably what I've seen in the news mostly, like which teams are better. Okay, this sounds bad, but I'm going to go with my best educated guess, especially looking at the records and all. Yeah. I'm going to go Celtics. I've seen that they've been pretty much on a hot streak. I also think that they have a little bit of fire underneath them because it almost reminds me of Bills-Chiefs in a sense. It's going to not make sense for a second. As in that the Chiefs always get the best of them in the playoffs, but for some reason, whenever they come back for vengeance, they always beat them in the regular season. And I have a feeling this is going to play a similar role as in that the Celtics have been beat by the Heat. I mean, they won one in the playoffs, which the Bills have won as well. Maybe I'm just out of this. I'm too much.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going Celtics.
I get where you're going, but it's not the best.
It's not the best comparison. I couldn't think of one.
Because the Bills haven't made it to the Super Bowl.
A for effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bills haven't made it to the Super Bowl.
Give me the Celtics. Give me the divisional round. I'm ready for football.
But
the
Heat just
championship round.
They're not that good of a regular season team. Like, dude, the Nets beat them, and I'm a Nets fan, and we probably had the worst coach in the league. Like, we beat them, so they're definitely beatable.
Yeah, I got Mikal Bridges.
Sam?
Yeah. I'll be the standalone. Fuego. I think that I'll take the Heat to win tonight. I think that they can have a bounce back game. I think that they can get destroyed. But you have games where you don't have anybody else. If Terry Rozier doesn't fit into that system, he doesn't fit into that tonight. You have games in that you've seen Jimmy Butler specifically even against the Celtics in the playoffs, albeit. But he has the ability to take over games by himself. So with that potential, and if you have a good night and you're at home again and you have a bounce back, like we need to get into the system, we need to get onto a roll. And if we can get a win against one of the top teams in the league, that can give us momentum towards it. So I'll take the Heat in this one, and I'm a Jimmy Butler super fan. So yeah.
I like Jimmy.
Nice little reverse. Sam, you kind of saved from the ESPN curse going with the Heat there, but that's a fun one, always is. Another fun one, though, East versus West. We got the Sixers. We got the Nuggets. We got Joel Embiid, the MVP. We got Nikola Jokic, the two-time MVP. This is a fun one. The Sixers took it. I believe it was last week. It was a really, really tight game. It was Embiid versus Jokic showdown. It's in Denver now. Altitude does play in a factor. Who takes this one?
All right, since I'm not as versed, I'm just going to go really quick. I'm going Nuggets. Jokic better than Embiid. All right, go ahead. Let's stay away from this conversation.
You only got one more, Brian. You're good. We only got one more.
I'm going with the.
I got to give a week, and then I can reset, and I'll be better next maybe 2 weeks. Give me a little bit of a break. I got to go on my little bye. But yeah, Nuggets. Go ahead.
I'm going with the Nuggets as well. Joker at home is really tough to beat. The only team who's done it this year is the Thunder. I don't see that changing this week. I think he's the best player in the league, in my opinion. He's going to go out there, get the job done. The Nuggets are a very, very solid team. They're always going to be tough to beat, and they're going to take the W home once again.
I agree. I said the Nuggets. I think after losing to them earlier, like a week ago or whatever, and then Embiid dropping 70, I think even though Jokic doesn't care about basketball, I think he's going to want to prove who the best center in the league is, because Jokic is the best center in the league. And then also, I think the altitude will, play a little factor. I mean, that always does. But yeah, I think Jokic will just prove who's better. Also, I know the Sixers have some injuries. I know Pat Bev's out. He played like 30 minutes in their last game against the Nuggets. So Marcus Morris is out. He played like 20 minutes. So I mean, they have some guys out. I just think Nuggets are a better team.
Yeah.
Tim?
Well, all right, fine. I'm taking the upset for this one as well. I'll say so I think the momentum off of Joel Embiid's performance will help them. I think the way that they can lose, and I think this is a fantastic matchup, but I think that they can get they won their last game. I think they can get the win again. I think that Joel Embiid won't have a 70-point performance, but he's going to have to fight with Joker, and his defense and his ability to play better than him will be the ultimate decider for that game. Right. If they foul him or not, if he chases fouls, if he flops. But at the end of the day, he's getting those points somehow, right?
He had 40 in the last
right,
game.
Right,
So.
and ultimately, you play less physically, or you do different things to avoid that. And there's different players who are really good at drawing fouls and really good at playing like that. And so he was able to take advantage. But I think the way that they do lose this game is, again, Denver being at home, because that's altitude with them at home. It's just a completely different game for them. But I'll take the upset here.
Don't bet against the fat man. On that note.
I mean, yeah, I think the main matchup's going to be Jokic and Embiid, but you really got to watch these role players. Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., all these guys, I think that they're going to have a huge impact. That's a fun one Saturday afternoon, early evening. That'll be a fun one. But the game after that, two teams with losing records. We got the Lakers 22-23. They're traveling to the Bay to take on the Warriors 18-22. Two teams that are kind of having a little bit of a disappointing season. They made the playoffs last year. Which team gets back on track today? Or not today, Saturday. What am I saying?
Do you want me to just go real quick? No.
Actually, yeah, you
You got it.
I really don't know. Gonna leave it at that. If I'm thinking neutral, I'm looking at Lakers, but I do know the Warriors do have the capability to have a really good home field advantage, and I like Steph anyway. I've always liked watching Steph when I grew up. And I still grow up, whatever. Either way, it's a little bit of a rough segment. We just gotta get back in the swing of basketball.
The last one.
I gotta start shooting from range now. I gotta start looking. Gotta get the layups first, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I'm just gonna. I feel like I've seen. I don't know. Maybe from the highlights I've seen on Instagram, I feel like the Lakers have been on a little bit of a heat streak. I might be disputed on this side.
coin.
That's a good
So I'm gonna lean Lakers.
Good
Fine.
point.
Good
Purple.
find,
Good
Brian. We're proud of you,
find.
man.
Part of it's the marker, so I'm just gonna put on here. Lakers. Maybe Warriors really tiny, but Lakers. Thank you all. I'll see you better. I'll be better next week.
I'll keep it rolling
process.
with the Lakers. Chris Paul is out for the Warriors. They have a couple other minor injuries. I just don't think Curry and Clay are as good as they were. It's very clear by their record, 18-22. They're just not the Warriors, and neither are the Lakers, to be fair. But I think LeBron and AD are better than Curry and Clay as of right now. However, LeBron is day to day. If he is not 100%, that's where I think it could flip. But if LeBron's 100% ready to go, he's going to go in there and get the job done.
All right. And my pick is the Lake Show, baby. So, the last time they played was the first week of the season, and the Warriors won by 5 or something. But both teams have went and the Lakers are underperforming, but they've definitely been trending in a better direction than the Warriors, who have the 4th worst defensive rating in the entire league, which is why I think they'll lose, because regardless if LeBron plays or not, I think the players outside of him, whether it's D'Lo, who just went off, AD, who's been insane this season and he's been healthy, and all these guys around him, I think they can perform much better than the guys on the Warriors can, and their defense just isn't great. And yeah, like you said, CP3's out. Moses Moody's out, who had 20 in their last game against the Lakers. And then Gary Payton, he's out, so that's even more of a hit for their defense. I mean, I see the Lakers winning. Warriors, I mean, they're okay this season. They're whatever. They got the offense, not the defense.
As much as I want to go 3 for 3 for upsets, I'm going to take the Lakers here. My thing that I see as a consistent thing for every single season is the Warriors kind of are just, they end up, you get in these points in the season where they are lower, where they have a losing record. They can squeak by and get into one of the lower spots into the playoffs, and then that's when they make runs. Sometimes they don't, maybe recently they haven't. But I think ultimately you have a huge disparaging difference on defense, like you said. I think that's the biggest thing, especially with if LeBron plays. I would assume he does. If he's day to day, do you know what kind of an injury he's dealing with?
Something leg, I think. Something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not anything
it's not
big.
groin,
but
Yeah, it's
just-
not groin.
It's
Something
just you want to keep
small.
him healthy for
Yeah.
the play-in.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, especially like you mentioned, which is something I completely forgot about, D'Angelo Russell being there, him being good as a kind of the role player at the point guard position. You have with LeBron and AD there against, if you're comparing them with Steph and Clay, there's a huge difference there. If they can stop them from shooting the ball well, then the Lakers should win. They should win soundly against them. Even though if it's in San Francisco, I still think the Lakers should take this win and get back on their roll.
Now, is Chris Paul been available all season?
He got injured late December.
But he hasn't been injured often, has he? Or kind of?
Like in the past couple seasons.
I just remember in the now, like I said, I'm in my football season.
He's a key piece for the Warriors.
But I'm saying, I listened to podcasts before because, like I
he's
said,
important to have on the court to have somebody one more person.
Like
they have to
40
think
though.
about.
I just remember listening to stuff in like September and all when the Wizards had made the trade for to trade away Chris Paul, you got Jordan Poole and so forth.
Yeah,
the
everybody
Wizards were like,
freaked
okay, he's
out.
just gonna be there.
They're like,
But the Warriors were supposed to be like pretty. Not top of the division, but like at least good enough for their second team
Like
to be led.
they were
very
supposed to be good,
disappointing
but
Okay.
Guys like Andrew Wiggins aren't performing. Klay Thompson didn't perform until like December.
Curry's
Wasn't
just getting
hitting
older.
anything. Curry just can't carry a team like that. Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, their minutes have been like 50-50. Steve Kerr doesn't know what to do with them, even if they go off. Jonathan Kuminga, he can drop 25. Steve Kerr will bench him next game.
And Draymond Green's playing like he's.
And then Draymond Green wants to, assault people.
He's having fun in the UFC.
I put that in my notes. The way the Warriors are going to win this game is if Draymond throws a punch at AD and knocks him out of the game.
Slugs him, man.
Beat him up. Nothing to lose.
Yeah, I think it's two teams in turmoil. The Lakers obviously talking about Darvin Ham, and the Warriors obviously with like Steve Kerr and losing the locker room. Kuminga too. I don't know if he requested a trade or not, but that will be a fun one. I mean, two teams like that. They're two of the best in the league, so that one will always be a fun one for sure. But let's get into the good stuff. And Brian's pointing at himself right now. It's conference championship season. On Sunday we got two games. We got the AFC Championship, NFC Championship. And we'll start in the AFC. We got the Chiefs, sixth straight Super Bowl champs. Taylor Swift led, regardless of who you believe in. And then we got the Ravens. Lamar Jackson most likely going to win his second MVP. One of the best defenses in the league. And it will be a slugfest. It'll be a fun one. It is in Baltimore. Baltimore with the best record in the league. The defending champs in Kansas City. Who takes it?
This is more my forte. And baby, we got some bad blood because I got the Ravens beating the Chiefs, all right? Taylor Swift can come to Baltimore if she wants. All the fans can buy tickets to see her. I have the Ravens winning. I've had this for a few weeks. I've said it for a few weeks.
Since the beginning.
Actually, I've probably had it since the regular season. You can go back and watch tapes or ask my parents, whoever I'm bored talking to. I have the Ravens, and I didn't even have to look over here to know what Toby was probably going to put. I'm just going to say, I did not see your board, and I don't want to see it because I want to be surprised if there is a chance. I figure what Toby's going to say. I'm just saying I think it's going to be the Ravens. Lamar's been playing really well. I don't want to overhype him because when you overhype, that's all of a sudden, things go south. But I just feel like this team's different. I feel like they have a lot of experience in Super Bowl as well as playoffs between like Dalvin Cook, playoff-wise, because remember that was a whole thing. You could watch that later. The Kyle Van Noy and Odell Beckham, Super Bowl. I just believe this is a really good team that can take it all the way.
I said the Ravens. I agree with what you were saying. I I mean, the Ravens just seem like the more complete team to me. Both teams, I think it'll be a defensive slugfest. I mean, both teams are top 6 statistically for defense. But I do think the Ravens will edge them out with, guys like Mark Andrews, he's coming back. He'll be back this week. Marlon Humphrey, he's back at practice, so he might be back this week as well on defense. And then I know for the Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco hurt like one of his toes and like missed some practice this week. And then L'Jarius Sneed, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL right now, is questionable for the game. So with all those injuries and people coming back for the Ravens and just me thinking the Ravens are a better team overall, I think they'll win. But you never know because it's the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And I saw a thing that one of the refs that's reffing it, he like notoriously calls way more penalties for
The home team.
the home team. So,
Oh my God.
you know, I'm just saying.
They also said
I'm not
that,
going to say it's all on that man right there.
There's
but
also
that's
a curse.
big thing.
There's also a Josh Allen curse, though. Any team that has that has beaten
Stand on
Josh
business,
Allen head on head in like the playoffs has not made it to the Super Bowl. So there's a curse
so
in
you
that as
got-
well. And the Chiefs did it twice, and
Yeah.
neither time did they make
Yeah.
it to the Super Bowl, and so did the Bengals.
Like when
Now, could
when
be
it comes
broken?
down
Obviously.
to it, I think it just comes to how good the teams play. But I think the Ravens will play a better game.
If M&T Bank Stadium can actually show
And-
up, because they forced 7 false starts on the Texans?
Yeah.
And the Texans looked
Yeah,
near
that was the
perfect in
biggest
their
thing with them.
penalties. That game, like if you can get M&T to show up, that's gonna be good. But if you get a bunch of Swifties in there, it's not good.
And I don't think that'll happen, but I also think it'll be easier for Patrick Mahomes to control the environment because, I mean, he has way more experience than C.J. Stroud, and I mean, he can make one crazy play and everybody's just dead silent.
Don't you dare go next. I know exactly why you chose that. I know exactly why.
Surprise, surprise.
There's no surprise. I know exactly what he did.
I wrote down the Ravens because you know what? They're going to fly away. Give me the Chiefs in this game. Let's go. The Chiefs are going to keep the run going. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I've learned my lesson. He is like Tom Brady. He is exactly like Tom Brady. You just do not bet against him. I'm not saying they have the same play styles, of course, but I'm not betting against him and Andy Reid. Also, fun fact, he just passed Tom Brady and Gronk for the most touchdowns between a quarterback and a wide receiver with Travis Kelce in the playoffs. And they've done, 7 seasons or something? How many did Gronk and Brady have? A lot more than that. I think they're going to keep rolling. I love the Chiefs this season. I mean, let's be real here. I don't want them to win again. But if I have to pick, give me the Chiefs. They just know how to win. And the Ravens, I think they're the better team. But I think a lot of those fans are going to go home crying that night because the Chiefs are going to put them in the ground.
I think a fun
agree.
matchup.
I agree. I had the Ravens, and I switched. So here's what I got to do here. So L'Jarius Sneed's going to play. He's questionable for. Would you know what he's questionable for?
No.
He's going to play. He's not going to sit out. Okay. No, it's the dude. It's the AFC Championship. He's going to play. So their corners are really good.
but he'll be
The Ravens. If they can stop the run game for the Ravens, Mark Andrews, I don't care about him coming back. He makes zero difference for me. Him and Isaiah.
Whoa, that's insane.
Him and Isaiah.
Don't say that.
Him and Isaiah likely the
you're
exact same
jinxing
thing.
it.
Dude,
I did.
They are not.
As someone
he's
who
hurt
picked
every
Kansas
single
City,
year.
I
He's
disagree
hurt
with that.
every single year.
Are
Dude.
you
serious?
What has he done the past 2 years?
He got hurt one season and he's hurt every year.
What's he done the past 2 years? What's he done the past 2 years?
Oh my
What's he done the past 2 years? Yes.
He was the best
was the
fantasy
leader-
tight end last year.
And
No,
he
he
was
was
the
not.
leading
Yes.
receiving
No, he
tight
was
end
not.
either last year or 2 years ago
Yes, he
over
was.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, yes, he was.
He broke the
better than
Ravens
Travis Kelce.
receiving record for wide receivers. They had Derek Mason, Anquan Bolden. They had Torrey Smith.
hasn't played
and he
the whole year.
broke the
Well,
record.
okay, so now you're back.
1,400 yards.
Say we caught you in this one. As someone who picked Kansas City.
Where did it take them?
Sorry.
Where did it take them?
Where did it take them?
Yeah.
They had Tyler Huntley playing. Where is Tyler Huntley now? He got wiped by the Steelers.
Here.
So no.
Besides Mark
Listen,
Andrews.
listen,
Mark Andrews.
listen.
Yeah,
This
okay.
game is going to be
listen.
decided by Lamar's legs. If the Chiefs' front four and their spy or whoever they else have watching Lamar, if they can stop Lamar's legs, they are going to win this game. That's what it comes down to. But
Or
if
just
Lamar,
the run game in
if Lamar has another 100-yard rushing game, the Chiefs can't win that game.
Listen.
But I think the Chiefs are going to find a way to stop the run.
Listen.
I'm going to let Sam go, and then I have 2 points that I want to add to this.
Listen.
I'm turf. I'm coming in at it.
So, as you know,
Yes,
I was born in Pittsburgh. I'm
Yes,
a Steelers
100%.
fan. I know AFC North like back of my hand. I get it. Here's the thing that what you get here is that you have the Ravens defense is fantastic. They're like maybe top 3. You could consider them maybe the best defense in the league. Their secondary is incredible. It's Patrick Mahomes, though. You can put him against the best secondary. He still makes plays happen. You've seen it with his wide receiver core being one of the worst possible. He still makes plays happen. You see Travis Kelce being there. Whenever he's actually playing, he had a slump the second half of the season. Once he gets into that rhythm, he finds himself open all the time. I feel like you just have those 2 guys in the game. It doesn't matter what defense you have because these consistently been able to get by every time. Plus their defense being better this year. Defense being better this year for the Chiefs. You have 2 top people in the secondary. You have your linebackers. You have Nick Bolton. You have Chris Jones. I think that they'll get by.
So I'm going to disagree with how you think the Chiefs are going to win.
I disagree with everything.
I don't think.
I know.
I think the Ravens' defense is going to be very good in this game. But the Chiefs' defense is also better than they normally are. I don't think the Chiefs can win a shootout if this game is a shootout. I think the Ravens are going to be the better offense. But if it comes down to a 24-17 game, I think the Chiefs can take that because if the Ravens don't have the momentum on offense that they normally do, and you keep their defense out for longer, Patrick Mahomes is going to find a way to put
I can
points on the
totally
board.
see that happen.
But he's not going to blow out the Ravens' defense.
No.
It comes down to stopping the Ravens' offense is going to be
I never
the matter
thought he
of this
would blow
game.
out the defense, and I don't think the Ravens are like a shootout offense either. They're not a
They are
shootout.
totally
A shootout offense.
They've averaged over 30 points a
They're
game.
absolute.
A shootout offense.
If you
Win every
think
team that play. Yeah, but I know
They're
that's
like
not their
Georgia.
passing game though.
I'm being down out there like Georgia. It's like they run it methodically, they pass the ball shortly, and then all of a sudden
Right.
it's 30-0.
I tried arguing this last week. Lamar
It's
does
runs
have a very
with
good
set up with
passing
play action. Yeah, he does have a very good pass.
One of the best passers.
I have a
in
few
the
points to
NFL.
add in,
Absolutely.
and I don't mean to tear it, and it's biased, Brian, whatever you want to say. I'm looking at this though.
Defend
I'm
your
going to start
team.
with the defense. Okay, first off, there's one key factor that none of you are bringing up, and it's Kyle Hamilton. He has been an absolute all-star as a 22-year-old. Going up against Travis Kelce,
forget about
he got
Geno
burnt
Stone.
by an undrafted wide receiver
Patrick Queen
in
and
his
Roquan
first
Smith, too.
stadium
Don't
practice.
forget about Geno Stone either. Legally.
Yeah, they're there, but you're going to see who's going to match up against Travis Kelce. And no safety that he's matched up to yet, because he went against a Bills secondary that had 15 players. They had made a meme about, oh my gosh, I've never seen something so big. Yes, there was a meme that was actually made on NFL about that, or CBS or whoever made it. There were a lot of injuries to that Bills defense, and they only won by 3 points.
And
a missed field goal and a dropped pass.
Also, it's not just the secondary. Like, they have the best linebacker duo in the entire
100%. And I think that what you're looking
if
at.
Roquan and Patrick Queen are on Travis Kelce, they both can keep up.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And Roquan, if he does happen to spy Mahomes, will get to Mahomes. And the way Mike McDonald disguises pass rush is like no other. They can get you with 4
think
people.
they'll just lose off their not being versatile on the offensive side. Like, I think, they'll be able to pass it a good bit. It's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. But, bro, you're going up against the Ravens. They have by far the best run defense in the NFL, and Pacheco is literally coming off an injury that he's missed practice for this
Rashee
week.
Rice,
I will-
game.
I think
And Rashee Rice only got
Rice.
4 receptions last game. He's a great receiver, but
I just think it's between the defense is that we just haven't. It's almost like you keep forgetting who's on that defense and how well they play. Because obviously,
I know.
I agree.
I
think
want the
we're
Ravens
arguing
to
a moot
win.
point right now.
I
well, I was also going to add.
I will say this because we do have a split house. We have two going to the Chiefs, 2 going to the Ravens. My pick, whoever the best player on the field is. I'll leave it at that.
That's
fair.
I was going to add in my 2 cents about it. But I can do
my
it later.
pick is the team that has the best player on the field. Whatever that may be. I might be Lamar, I might be Mahomes. You're not going to know until
think
next
Lamar is
weekend.
better than
Honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the script and it might just be a rant session next week.
I think Lamar.
Honestly,
would
I
be
might
better
just do
against
that
the Chiefs
because
defense than
we
Mahomes.
could talk about this. We could talk about this for like 20.
I don't think he's better. I
We
think
could talk about this for 20, 30 minutes in itself, and I might
talk about it
honestly
later.
end up doing that just because of
the
the Super
Ravens
Bowl.
are too complete.
But we're gonna move on really fast. We got the NFC Championship right after that. We got the Lions. We got America's team. We got the 49ers. We got the team that lost their starting quarterback in the NFC Championship last year, perhaps one of the best teams on paper, and they didn't get their wish. Now they're back, and they're in their home stadium. Who takes this one? Do the Lions prevail? Do they go to the Super Bowl for the first time, I believe, in franchise history in the NFL? Or do the Niners reign supreme? Who takes it?
So I said bang, bang, Niner gang, because the Lions are not winning. I don't see any way they win. I'm not going to lie. I just think the 49ers defense is too much for them and their offense too. I mean, you know their offense and their defense. You know how good it is. And even with Debo out, I'm so confident that Christian McCaffrey and all their other players can get it done. I mean, Brandon Ayuk he could be a wide receiver one on another team if he really wanted to be. So, I mean, Debo, it'll be a hit, but I don't think it'll be too big of a hit. And like I said earlier, the Lions have lost half of their offensive line, their wide receiver 3. Sam Laporta might not play either. I think he will just because I didn't think he was going to play last week, but he still did. So I think he'll play, but he's still questionable. And then Alex Anzalone, one of their best linebackers, is out. So I hope the Lions win. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't see a way they do.
So I don't have my whiteboard right now because I threw it because the Ravens flew away. But I said last week that the Niners are my pick to make it out of the NFC and win the Super Bowl.
Same.
But since last week, I've had some feelings. I'm getting some deja vu from 2019 Jared Goff, and normally I'll come in here with stats or something to back it up, and I just have a feeling. I just have this feeling that Jared Goff, he's gonna pull a little 2019 Jared Goff out and find a way to make the Super Bowl. I think the Lions are gonna find a way to get it done. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how they're going to find a way to handle the defense and the offense of the 49ers, but I'm just getting a little deja vu right now.
The only way I'll say the Niners lose is if Brock Purdy sells the game, because I think he's a poor man's Jared Goff. So there you go.
Let me take this.
Go ahead. So
now I'm going to go Niners as well. I think name one weakness on the Niners defense.
I can't, but they've lost 4 games.
Safety.
Like
Only reason why I say safety is
Hufanga.
because he's hurt. Yeah. They have really good backups.
Right.
I'm not going to say they're
Right.
not bad.
Right.
They have pretty good backups. I just think if you had to pick a weakest point, it would be safety.
They don't really have.
I think
anywhere
they
on
don't.
their
Right.
team.
it's
No,
just
no.
the
only place they might have a weakness is the most important position.
I think
on the
their
field,
quarterback.
At
Yeah.
quarterback.
I think quarterback.
Physical trainer.
Exactly.
I
That's why I say if he
completely
doesn't
agree.
play,
If
great.
But I also was arguing
It's
on
done.
this show
Give 2
4 months ago that he was the MVP.
No,
he gets
don't bring that up. Do not bring
I
that
never
up.
thought he was the MVP.
So, if I think he was having an MVP stat line.
But yet again,
Hold on.
if
Let's
he does bad, hand the ball.
let Sam go.
Yes.
There we go.
I think if he gets 2 interceptions, maybe you can see 1 interception. If you have 2 turnovers, that game's over. I think unless then you have Jared Goff, who also has thrown a lot of interceptions himself. But I think the defenses really shine for this team, and it doesn't even compare to what the Lions have on defense. And I think that's the standout of this game, especially whenever you have what should have been the MVP in Christian McCaffrey on the Niners. You know, it's their offense is too elite. And that's where you kind of get the game manager thing with Brock Purdy not being incredibly standout, but also having so much talent that it's like, how could you mess up in this situation? Because you have so much that's there. So I don't see how they can lose. And if they lose, then I don't know. But I mean, like you said, 2019 Jared Goff could come out.
Also, Lions, I mean, any play could be a big play for them. That's like their thing.
Right.
So
Almost like a
I mean, recently, I was kind of surprised on how well the statistics said the Niners were doing defensively in the playoffs because in my opinion, I don't know about y'all, but from the game I saw, their defense wasn't amazing, unstoppable.
Yeah.
When I saw the Ravens play, I was like, I don't know how people are going to do much to that. But that 49ers defense is definitely capable of letting up big plays and letting the Lions score. But, I mean, I just don't see a way I do see a way, but I think it's very
You got to
unlikely.
also say, you got to say it was C.J. Stroud on the field too against the Ravens.
Here's the worry.
And they have a bottom 5 rushing offense. They have nothing there.
They did have a top 6 rushing defense, though. And
Yeah.
the Ravens ran for
Here's-
250.
Here's the
Right.
worrying part about the 49ers.
That's not defense.
Ravens are just
Here's
deep.
the worrying part about the 49ers. They are an elite team both on offense and defense. We haven't seen many teams this elite both on offense and defense, and they found a way to lose 5 games this season.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how. Like
One of which-
I remember when they went on that 3-game skid. I don't know how they did it, but they have that
games
somewhere
like
in their
those.
team. They had so.
It's
There's a
possible.
possibility. There is a much better possibility than I'd say some other teams
Yeah.
that have looked like them in the
Yeah,
regular season.
But didn't they lose Debo for a while this season? They lost him for
Yeah,
multiple
he was out.
games
He was
this-
out for like
A 3-game losing streak, Debo was not playing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that is a fact you have. Also,
and he
if-
might not play again. So
If
that's
this defense can stop and limit the Detroit's rushing game, then I think that settles it by itself, regardless of you think of Brock Purdy being that way. Because once you stop their run, which I think is their biggest part of their game, I think their run is their biggest part of their game, then the Niners should handle
I
it.
think if the Lions
They got
somehow
Jared
stop the run, it's
Do
wraps.
Jared Goff.
I'm just letting them. I like
Go
it.
ahead.
It's enjoyable.
Yes.
We're all like talking, you know.
Wrap us up, Brian.
Wrap us up.
Wrap us up.
I'm gonna say
I got a bombshell.
I'm gonna say a few things real quick, and then I'll get to my. First off, I'd say Brandon Ayuk is arguably their number 1 already. That'd be my take.
Yeah, exactly.
My second
As a
take is
pure
that
wide receiver. He is the wide receiver.
Absolutely.
obviously 49ers have no weakness on defense or offense. It's just what's the weakest point at this
Yeah.
point in the season.
Can they contain that?
I don't think Brock Purdy's an MVP candidate, but that's just me. I think he's more boosted by his talent. I've already shared that opinion. I
think
don't
we
think
all
Debo.
agree with
I don't think
that.
Debo's missing will affect it as much
Yeah.
as people think.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said, I'm taking the Lions. I'm going to be taking the Lions.
Niners are better at everything, but I'm taking.
And they have
the
no
Lions.
weaknesses
Part
at
of
all,
this-
and they're at home.
Part of
but-
these choices are is kind of you don't just go based off of stats alone. You also want to go off a
Yeah.
little bit of feeling. And it just seems like there is a storyline around the Lions that they are just
gonna get-
destined to at least get to the Super Bowl. All right,
Get
it's just how I feel, and I feel the same way about the
ripped out.
Ravens, but that could be fan.
I
This
thought
one,
the
I'm
same
not
about the Texans.
I'm not a diehard fan about the
I
Lions.
did not think that.
No,
the
I didn't.
Texans did not have that.
But I think part of that, the reason the defense. I think part of the reason the defense has done so well in the last 2 games is because they've been home, where that crowd has been enormous.
Yeah.
Right.
And without that there, we're going to really see the true colors of the defense. And it might end up being an offensive shootout. And in all fairness, if I'm going offensive shootout, I would say that the Lions are essentially a younger, less experienced 49ers, is the way I see it. They have a decent duo linebacker. You know, they have like an underrated secondary that not a lot of people know many names in. They have a pretty good front. It's not too bad.
Dude,
They're just
secondary
learning.
Sucks, man.
Wait,
Their secondary sucks.
their front.
Cam Sutton, one of their starting quarterbacks.
No,
cut
their
the Steelers
secondary
cut.
isn't horrible.
Dude.
They're not horrible.
They're not.
It's not underrated.
They're not.
But no one's
it's
gonna. But,
it's
They're not.
mediocre.
but no one's gonna. If you ask someone like, what's the top 3 or 5 secondaries, no one's gonna really think of 49ers first. They're just gonna think of Fred Warner.
If you're looking at this as a regular season game, the 49ers should blow them out of the
Correct.
water. But it's the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's the NFC
Yeah,
Championship.
exactly.
Anything can
And
happen.
so,
mean,
if I had to
anything
go with
can
it,
happen.
because of how similar I see those rosters, experience set aside, because of the talent that I see that's kind of similar, I'm going to trust Jared Goff over Brock Purdy. That's just me. Brock Purdy's kind of been on a cool-in ever since that December game against the Ravens where he threw 4 picks.
But you got
so ironically happened.
But you also,
And
but you
Zaloni.
also have to remember that like Jared Goff is going, he like might die in that pocket because like they literally lost 2 of their best linemen. I mean,
Didn't
they
Frank
lost
Ragnow got hurt? Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah.
He's one of the best centers in the entire
Yeah.
league. And the Niners have the best front 7 in the league, debatably.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to think Jared Goff, he's going to be under pressure a lot of the time.
gonna get
So
absolutely
their offense might not look as good, but I get
Like
what
I
you're
said,
saying.
it's just kind of,
It's just
it's mostly
feeling.
stat
It's
and
the-
part feeling,
yeah,
and I just feel like
I might be wrong.
I want the Lions to win, so I
do
hope
too. I
they
do too.
I might,
Give us a bombshell.
I might be wrong, but I think each one of you picked a different outcome. You picked Ravens, Lions, Chiefs, Lions,
Yep.
Chiefs, Niners, Niners, Ravens. All 4 of you picked a different one.
Somebody's going to have
Someone's
to be
right.
really happy.
yeah, and it's
Someone's right. So
really sad.
I mean, I will say this, and someone's going to be right, and that's. I mean, we're going to be talking about this mostly on the next week of the Extra Point. Also, bombshell.
vote which Super Bowl
We'll be
outcome.
talking about this next week too. Coaching hires. Jim Harbaugh, Los Angeles Chargers, official.
What?
Just
Official?
happened.
Are you
Just
serious?
happened.
What?
Got live news here at the Extra Point, by the way. But
Let's go.
I'm gonna leave you guys at that. We got whole new decisions across. I'm Chiefs Niners. That's my picks. Those are my picks for the game. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Extra Point. I'm going to leave you guys on a little cliffhanger. We'll be talking about these games. We'll maybe preview the Super Bowl a little bit, and we'll talk about some coaching hires. But that is all for next week. So thank you guys for watching. Feel free to subscribe, like, and we'll see you guys next week with another episode of The Extra Point. See ya.